Great is the Lord, and greatly to be praised in the city of our God, in his holy mountain, beautiful in elevation, the joy of the whole earth. The city of the great King, God is in her palaces. For behold, the kings assembled, they passed together. They saw it, and so they marveled. The Lord, through the prophet Ezekiel, revealed in great detail what will cause kings and the inhabitants of the earth to marvel in the age to come.
The context and timing of the Lord's revelation to Ezekiel is that in Ezekiel's day, the people of God were displaced from the land God had promised them, and there is no temple in it, for it had been destroyed.
The Lord in his great kindness was giving hope and faith to his people, declaring in their lowly estate that he had not forgotten them and that he had not utterly forsaken them.
In fact, the Lord was revealing to his people that he would forever be their God and King, dwelling in their midst, and that they would be his people forevermore.
What the Lord showed Ezekiel was a guided tour of the future temple during his millennial reign. The scope of this temple will be 36 times larger than that of Solomon's temple, having its foundations established upon the highest mountain in the earth. Its capacity will comfortably host 1.5 million people at any given time. One of the premier details at the center of the temple complex is the sacrificial system and its order. These consisted of blood sacrifices from animals, sacrifices of resources, and sacrifices of praise.
What we witness in this is that the Lord cares deeply about the manner in which he is regarded and approached and worshipped.
And likewise, we are able to further observe from the testimony of Ezekiel the manner in which Jesus will administrate his rule within the temple complex.
We see very specific ordinances in place regarding entry into the temple. The only people allowed into the temple would be those who are redeemed. Thus, the unredeemed may never enter the temple.
The millennial temple will also serve as an economic center, where the trading standards will be established with justice. With commerce at its doorstep, the entire nation will be overflowing with prosperity.
It is so exciting to know when the government of the nations rests upon the shoulders of Jesus in his millennial reign, that the economy will be established with God's order, justice, and righteous judgment from that time forth and forevermore.
It is clear that there are three primary service roles of ministry in the temple worship system, with the highest honor being ministry to the Lord and then ministry to the people. Another provoking reality lies buried within the secluded chambers of the sanctuary within the temple. From it, a river is said to flow that brings healing. But what exactly does that mean? And what kind of sanctuary is that which houses life? The river is described as coming out from under the door of the most holy place, flowing southward, down the right side toward the Dead Sea, and giving life to all it touches. And not only the Dead Sea, the river is said to give life to all of creation. In Ezekiel 47 verse 12, the prophet notes that on the banks of the river many trees were growing, a garden paradise where the leaves on these trees never wither, but instead are used for food and for healing.
Zechariah 14 states that when the Lord returns and establishes this temple on Zion, he himself will sit in the temple and be worshipped as God. Could it be that the river finds its origins in him? Could it be that from the Creator himself, a river is produced which gives life to all it touches?
So essentially what we see here, if all scripture adds up, is that the Creator sits enthroned in the most holy place, and from him a river goes out that gives life throughout the rest of the world.
From the scriptures we see the Lord reigning in the midst of the temple and the river of life flowing from his throne, bringing healing to the nations. In Ezekiel's temple, God is once again dwelling with man as he did in Genesis. He will rule in the temple and dwell in the midst of his people forever. Another pending question surrounding the temple is that of animal sacrifices.
Why are there animal sacrifices in Ezekiel's temple? What is their role? In Ezekiel 43, we still see that there are animal sacrifices going on. There are still burnt offerings. There is still blood being sprinkled upon the altar. Though the sacrifices do not take away the effects of sin, we still know that they are important to the Lord. What they do, though, is they point back to the reason why there is worship going forth to the man on the throne in Jerusalem.
There is no doubt that the sacrificial system remains intact according to Ezekiel's vision. While it might not be to atone for sin, it is yet important.
Many divisions arise when speaking of the temple of the millennium. What is clear to everyone is that it is closer to that which Moses and David were emulating. It is the kind of worship that, though has been tasted in the past, has not yet been seen.
Many Jews and Christians alike await the building of this temple, and for good reason. With it come promises of life, healing, and the fulfillment of worship on the earth. It is the mark of a time coming when Jesus will walk once more on the earth, and water containing life will flow from the temple. Yet I have set my king on my holy hill of Zion. Therefore be wise, O kings. Be instructed, you judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry and you perish in the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all those who put their trust in him.